Good evening, Earthlings and other alien life forms present. I'm humbled and honored to appear here before you today at today's panel discussion of subculture, art making in subcultures, i.e. people doing things in rooms part 2. What I thought I'd do this afternoon is kind of give you an overview of aliens, such as myself, and then talk a little bit about alien art and alien culture as it's been portrayed in media, and I thought we'd go from there. So, to preview the word alien and its definition and origin, which on this planet is derived from Middle English extraterrestrial, aka the word other of Middle English in 1300. It derived from the Middle French, which derived from Latin, which was spelled alienus and was pronounced alienus. Many words derived from it, including these three. Alieni generis, Latin meaning of another kind, pronounced alieni generis. Alieni juris, derived Latin, modern usage of law term, meaning under the control of another, as in lunatic. And alienist, defined as law court psychiatrist. The word alien came into English language usage in what Earthlings now call America in 1800. Even modern day human high school students are expected to know these words. Having said that, in the light of the difficulties I've experienced since arriving here on Earth in the most unusual way of being kidnapped early on by a space monkey and forced into a slave-like atmosphere where Earthlings are told rather than allowing themselves to behave in the true nature that they were meant to behave, and do not realize that until they are of a certain age. My situation is unique in that way, and I have a fresh perspective on that, but perhaps first I need to address the idea of the word alien, which by human standards has been exasperated to a point of no return. The word alien is tossed around a little too much like the word depression, and frankly no one understands what that means. Alien is also, cinematically speaking, by exotic, outlandish, conflicting, incongruous. Sorry, your language is strange to me still.
Yeah, well.
Contradictory, stranger, outlander, foreigner, immigrant, Auslander, and unconnected. So to be an alien is in some ways very exhilarating, in other ways sad, because being an outsider looking in on a culture that behaves accordingly to peer pressure and then becoming ostracized only for acting in a way that is natural and later forced to become part of a cookie-cutter population is disheartening. Aliens over the centuries have been depicted the following ways: creepy, clever, cunning, and cute. So I thought I would show you a few that were how we've been depicted. And as you see, you're very familiar with, there's Marvin the Martian from Mars. He's a cartoonish character developed by Looney Tunes, Warner Brothers. Marvin made his debut in 1948's Bugs Bunny cartoon, Hair Devil Hair. The intention of Marvin, however, was to promote his soft-spoken, humorous style, plus his evil, ever-plotting component, mindedness of the self. Then, of course, there is Uncle Martin from the 1963 television show, My Favorite Martin, starred Ray Walston as the Martian. He's a rather human-appearing anthropologist from Mars who crash lands in Los Angeles due to an ex-fighter jet that hits his spaceship, causing it to crash. Tim O'Hara, Los Angeles Sun newspaper reporter, played by Bill Bixby, views the spaceship coming down just as he was coming back from Edwards Air Force Base to report the flight of the X-15. Then O'Hara takes the Martian in as his roommate, refers to him as his Uncle Martin, and reveals very little, if anything. Uncle Martin has several unearthly powers, including raising 2 antennas, which you see right there in the picture. from his head and the ability to become invisible, plus he is telepathic and can read and influence minds. He can levitate people and objects as well as freeze them, plus communicate with animals. So then you also have the evil depiction of Martians in the film Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. Martians who are decidedly upset that Martian children are a little too OCD with TV shows from Earth that promote the values of Santa Claus and decide to kidnap him and kill him. But to be honest, you know, we're not so terrible, and evil as a media like yours makes us out to be. And so, in fact, if you think about it, we have a fresh perspective, which I referred to earlier, rather an intergalactic perspective. But I believe aliens are the true anti-provincialists of the galaxy we thrive in. So, in fact, I'd like to show you some very ordinary citizens of Saturn who heavily influenced my outlook on the overall creation of my art. I call them the influences. So this is, okay, so this is Casimir Tufus, and he was an experimental sound artist. And he was born on Saturn on May 1st, 1732, and he died November 4th of 2012. He was sort of an artist in his own right, but he wasn't called an artist in his time. He kind of had a lot of odd jobs, like shoe last maker, window washer, tobacco salesman. He was a slave during the Saturn Civil War. He was more like a kind of a sound guy, I guess you'd call him, in one form or another. And then we've got Myrna you pronounce her name Harolds, and she was a collage and paper artist and painter and a numerologist. And this is some of her work. This is Botz Moments from 1994. And last but not least, we have Ari Vosniks, and he was kind of, I guess you'd call him. He was sort of a poet and a philosopher. And so the last thing I'd like to show you is like we've used the landscape as sort of our sketch pads or our canvas, and we've left behind really fantastic and artscapes. Some question to this day whether or not it's real or whether or not it's photoshopped. So this is like, these examples of vocal disease are called the Nazca lines in Peru. So I'd like to show you a few of these. Sorry. There we go, there's the hummingbird. And we have the spider. And there's the pelican. And I'd like to throw out this question to you, if I can. I'd like to know, as artists and aliens move forward together in the future, what might you think might be a good way to work together and perhaps collaborate both as artists from Saturn and Earthlings without making each other worse for wear and tear? I agree. Totally. Is there anybody else? Okay. Well, this is all the time I have for today, folks, and thank you very much for letting me come to your planet. And, well, it's gravity. I can't quite do this. It's a problem. Thank you very much for letting me be here. Thank you.